So this guy comes running into his doctor. He says, doctor, I have a serious problem. You have to help me. I can never remember what I just said. And the doctor said, when did you first start to notice this problem? And the man said, what problem? So this is a video about a poor man's watch collection. And I just had to do it to be like all the other guys doing watch collection videos. But I think it has value because this is what happens when you can't buy expensive watches, but you still want to be in that world. You're becoming interested in watches. I'm definitely a novice. So I wanted to tell my history. And I have a normal history with watches. First watch I ever had, I inherited when my grandfather died and I was 12. And I think it's still around somewhere in a box. I don't know what it is and I'm dying to find out. It was old and it said 17 jewels on it and I thought it was amazing, and I found a leather bracelet that I put it on and I wore it for years and it stopped working and put it in a box. And then parents, grandparents would give me watches for Christmas, birthdays, whatever, $10 watches, $15 watches. A couple of Timexes, I remember loving the Indiglo. And then the battery would die or it would stop working, and this almost disposable, be thrown away. I mean, they were so cheap, it just, if they stopped working, if they were battery watches, it's like, was it really worth the trouble to go have a new battery put in it? So those watches went by the wayside. And then as I started my career, I bought a digital watch of some kind that I thought was really cool, and it stopped working, and I don't know what happened to it. It was a digital watch. I used the alarm function. And then I bought a Timex Iron Man a number of years ago, which I really liked. But the rubber band made a stink. It smelled funny when I used it. And then because the strap and the case were all molded one piece of rubber, when the strap broke, it was no good to me, and I think I threw it away. Well then, when my daughter was in high school, she did something really special. She gave me this watch. It's a Fender watch. It says Fender on it. And I loved this watch. I was so proud that she gave me this watch. And on her graduation night, I wore it to the ceremony. When I was taking it off, I dropped it and the crystal broke. And I wept. I cried. All these watches have a good story. I took it to a jeweler the next day and he said, oh, there's really nothing I can do, but he cut a piece of plastic and kind of glued it into place. And I still wear it. My daughter tells me, stop wearing that stupid watch. But it means a lot to me. It'll always have a special place in my collection. It's a special watch to me. Then my son AC for Christmas a few years ago gave me a beautiful gold watch from So & Co. off of Amazon. And I wear it on Sundays and on special occasions when I get really dressed up, and I think it's just beautiful and I love it. It's not a fancy name brand. This is a fashion watch and I love it. So, as you know from watching my videos, a few months ago I became concerned about my appearance and I started searching the internet for ways I could look better. And I found a number of sites that said, you know, a gentleman wears a watch. So oh gee, okay, wears a watch. So I ran right out to a department store and bought an $18 fashion watch, which you can't read. It's such a terrible watch. You can't, it's hard to read. And it was like 18 bucks. I thought, okay, now I got a watch. It's a Creed watch. Creed, C-R-E-E-D, very fancy. And, but I love the gray bracelet though. It sure looks good. I should probably take the bracelet off and put it on another watch. So, but then as I started watching more videos I found watch YouTube channels, watch collectors, the Urban Gentry and the Time Teller, and listen to their talk about cheap watches, and I thought, oh man, I've got a watch that's terrible cheap a watch and you can't read it. But one thing I love, and I've always loved, and my grandparents had a grandfather that had a rectangular watch, and when I was in TJ Maxx I found a Kenneth Cole. I thought, oh, Kenneth Cole, that's a name brand, right? Fashion watch. But this is a chrono and it's rectangular and I still love it. I just think it's beautiful and I wear it regularly. It's a fashion watch, but it's gorgeous. I really, really like this watch and I wear it a lot. But I still, being that I was never going to spend $1,000 for a watch, I noticed one thing all these guys said was that Timex watches were respectable watches. I thought, oh, I want a respectable watch. I've got these fashion watches, now I want a respectable watch. So I bought an Expedition. I found this black Timex Expedition. That's still not expensive, and I think it's really neat. It's got Indiglo, really kind of attractive. I think I'd like the Weekender in a chrono, which will come later, but I thought that was really cool. So I had those. Then a very interesting thing happened. A man that my wife worked with flirted with her all the time. My whole family hated him. And I would always tell her, this guy, he's inappropriate with you. And she'd say, nah, I don't know what you think you're seeing, but I think you're wrong. But he gave her a Christmas gift. It was a gift box with lots of chocolates and hot chocolate and candy and things in it. She's not really a chocolate person. And she would say, hey, everybody, help yourself to some chocolate. We'd all say, no, thanks. And he would call her from time to time to say, how did you like your Christmas gift? And she'd say, oh, it was great. Thanks very much. It was great. Well, then in April, she came to me tearful. She was all choked up, and she said, I was going to throw the box out. I was cleaning it out, and there was a little smaller box in all of the wrapping paper that was all crumpled up inside the box, and from a jeweler. And she cried, and so the name was on the box, and so we took it to the jeweler, and it was really interesting because she walked in, and the man said, I know why you're here. She says, really, do you? He says, yeah, you received an inappropriate gift from a man, and now you're here to bring it back. Yeah, that's true. He says, yeah, we have ladies that come in all the time for that reason. So it was a necklace with a diamond. They look up the purchase. It was purchased before Christmas, $1,200 necklace. And she felt really bad. And the guy says, it's been so long, all we can give you is in-store credit, and we can only give you $300 in-store credit now, because it's been a long time since this necklace was purchased. We don't know what's happened to it. So she came and talked to me. She says, I don't know what to do. I got thinking of just giving it to him. I don't want to exchange it for something to wear because it would remind me of this inappropriate gift, and I don't want to get something for my daughters because it's tied to this inappropriate gift. And I said, well, I have an idea. Let me get a watch. She said, oh, perfect. And I said, I'll have it engraved with love from Doug, which I didn't do. She said, oh, please don't do that. So she went back into the store and said, well, first of all, I went in the store and I picked a watch. I said, I've got $300 to work with, show me watches. And they showed me a bunch of watches. I said, that one. And I had them set it aside under my wife's name. She went in and they thought that was really classy. The guy says, you're doing the right thing. So they took it and got it all ready. We're boxing it up. They offered to take my wife's wedding ring and have it cleaned and serviced and looked at, and he says, okay, he said, now you're taking this watch and we're going to give you a $40 discount. My wife says, I don't know what you mean, what's a $40 discount, I'm not buying it. And he said, well, I'm going to put $40 on your credit card as a discount, and then you take your husband to dinner and give him this watch and tell him why you're doing it. And what I picked was this Citizen Bryson chrono, which now is this watch means so much to me. I love this watch. It's a Citizen Bryson. Now it has a wonderful story. I still may have it engraved one day on the back. And it's just, I love this watch. It had the story and the history, coming to an understanding with my wife. It's a special watch. So I waited for tax return season. I was very excited for it because one thing everybody talked about on their watch channels was the Bambino, and I had to have the Bambino second generation. Love this watch. I was wearing it today. I think that's such a beautiful watch. That was my first, okay, I'm going to buy a serious watch. So remember, I'm going from fashion watches to an Orient Bambino, which has just been a joy to have. And then this is another great watch story. I had some old motorcycles that I thought were garbage, and I was going to get rid of them, and I had a mechanic look at them, and he offered me $2,000. And so I thought, I'm going to go into a jewelry store, I'm going to buy the Seiko Prospect, because I want a dive watch. So I went in and asked the jeweler, I want to see that Prospect. And he said, are you a diver? And I said, no. And he said, well, then it's no good to you. You won't like it. A diver watch is specifically for a diver, and it won't be any good to you. And I said, does it tell time? He says, yeah, but you know what? And he tried to do the old switcheroo. He wouldn't be interested in that watch. It's for divers, and you're not a diver. So look at these watches over here. He started showing me Bulova watches and and other citizens, and I thought, no, I want that. Well, then my son had his appendix burst, and he needed money he needed some help. He's an adult, but he needed some help with the hospital bill. So I decided to get the Seiko SKX 009 and give him the rest of the money for his operation. And I don't mind because I love this watch. This watch is fun to wear, and I had it sized and everything, and it was kind of floppy, and I wore it floppy for a long time because I'm a dope. And then I had it sized, and this watch, that's the latest watch I got, and I love this watch. And I would have the prospect, the turtle, if the dumb salesman would have said, "Great, here it is, try it on, buy it, $400 and something." Instead, I bought this off of Amazon. I bought this SKX 009, but I still love it. I cherish this watch, and that's my watch collection. I'm now thinking of a Hamilton Khaki King, and I really like the Ratto Captain Cook. But that is a poor man's watch collection. Somebody who has no discretionary spending money. But I've had fun learning about watches, and I'm obsessed with watching Urban Gentry, Time Teller, and Aaron Marino, and it's been fun to learn about. Anyway, enjoy the jokes.